So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Founders4Schools CareersJam, and more specifically, welcome to the How to Ace an Assessment Day breakout session delivered by CorpFit. So I will be your lead instructor for today. My name is Demi. I am a coach here on the CorpFit platform and one of the founding team members. We're extremely excited to have you here. I'm also joined by some of my coaches on the platforms. We have Jefferson Emmanuel, who's joining us from the School Leavers team. We have Joshua Conda, who's joining us from our engineering team and is one of our founding engineering team members. And we also have Victor Adebesan, who's joining us from the School Leavers Technology segment as well. So let's just dive straight into it. An assessment day. An assessment day can be a daunting experience, and it's oftentimes very hard to know what to expect. This workshop will help you understand what happens on the day, what will be assessed, how to prepare, and our best tips to help you ace it. To introduce CorpFit as a whole, as a brand, we were founded in 2021 by a team of corporate professionals. Fundamentally, CorpFit is a coaching business. We aim to create a new strand of corporate activity whereby students like yourself can access coaches that are in a graduate position or even in the actual role in a specific industry or sector. And what we want to do is really enable students to have the ability to join a community, interact with people that are 2 to 5 years ahead of them in terms of their career aspirations, gain advice, purchase information products if they'd like more specific and tailored coaching, but ultimately achieve their dream career, their dream role, their dream, plan for after university and after school in the most inexpensive and efficient way possible. It will also serve as a social platform, which aims to capture talking points in the corporate sector and also improve the application success of students and experienced professionals through coaching, career guidance, and all of our information products. So before we kick off into the session, I'll do a quick introduction into myself. My name is Demi. I'm a coach here at CorpFit, currently working as a client manager within Moody's Analytics, which is a financial services company. I graduated with a 2-1 in engineering and business from the University of Warwick in 2019. And during my time there, I secured a number of internships and graduate positions, such as with companies like Citi, JP Morgan, RBC Capital Markets, Risk Management Solutions, and Killick & Company, to name a few. Extracurriculars wise, I also served as the head of finance of the Warwick Africa Summit and also led a student-run magazine centered around investment banking called The Deal Digest. So I will pass on now to Victor, who's another one of our coaches. Victor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Victor. I'm currently doing a software engineering degree apprenticeship at a Bold Bracket Investment Bank, and I'm studying towards my degree in digital and technology solutions. I actually recently completed my A-levels in maths, physics, and computer science, and I received 100% offers from universities such as the London School of Economics and the University of Southampton, to name a few. During this time, I also undertook some insight events and work experience placements at PwC, KPMG, and Accenture. And I'm here a part of the CorpFit team to help with anything regarding personal statements and applications to different types of firms and apprenticeships and all things tech related.
Thank you, Victor. So passing on to Jefferson, another one of our coaches here on the platform.
Hi guys, I'm Jeff. I'm a first year economics student at Warwick. I'm looking to go into investment banking. So I've done spring weeks at firms such as JP Morgan, Perella Weinberg Partners, and RBC. And this summer I'll be doing a summer internship as an insurance firm. And within CorpFit, my role specifically revolves around application advice with work experience, school leavers advice, and university application help.
Perfect. Thank you, Jefferson. And moving on to our final coach of the day, we have Joshua.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joshua. I am a current graduate engineer at Tilbury Douglas. I did an undergrad in civil engineering. I've also completed a master's in engineering project management. As Demi said, I am one of the founders when it comes to the engineering side of CorpFit. I offer help in CV writing, CV reviews, and all other aspects when it comes to interviews. Got about 3 years experience in the industry. I've also worked for companies such as BAM and Countryside. And yeah, I'm just here to offer my guidance in all things engineering and construction related.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh. So for any of the late attendees, here's the CorpFit team. We have experience across banking, technology, engineering, quite a well put together team for today's discussion. And in terms of results, we've helped students gain student internships, summer internships, graduate positions in a range of sectors. And to name a few of the companies, we've helped students gain positions at firms such as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. On the engineering side, we've worked with Straight Line Consulting. We've also touched on some of the companies like Perella Weinberg Partners, Citi, for example, so plenty of experience here. We're going to make sure that there's some time at the end of the discussion for questions, but for the purposes of timekeeping, we will kick off into the first slide. So what is an assessment day? I've invited everyone the ability to unmute themselves if they'd like to, raise their hand and potentially give us 1 or 2 points on what they think an assessment day is. And if not, we can just run through, some of the key aspects of an assessment day and what we've seen from our experience. Any questions? Nope. Anyone want to add? Okay, perfect. No worries at all. So yeah, let's click into it. Graduate employers design their own assessment centers to test for skills and aptitudes that are right for their own organizations. However, they typically do contain similar elements and exercises. An assessment day typically does take place at the end of an application process, meaning if you've got to this point of the application, you've already gone through CV and cover letter screening. In addition to this, you've probably had 1 to 2 phone interviews, an in-person interview, where you've had to discuss things such as competencies, maybe some technical questions that are more relevant to the role. But all in all, from our experience, we tend to see the assessment day as the final lap. It's where you show off who you really are as a person. You have the ability to communicate with the company in much closer detail and get a feel for what's actually going to be taking place on the role. So in terms of the components, you'll typically have an information session where you'll be given a presentation about the business at the start of the day. This will typically be delivered by human resources or someone within the business. You then have a group icebreaker session where you might have an interesting exercise where you talk to your fellow companions and students at the assessment day. After that, in some assessment days, you have aptitude and psychometric tests. So very early in the application process, you may have already sat one of these tests. However, in assessment days held by firms such as Citi, we've seen that oftentimes a firm does like to actually redo those tests within their own offices just to ensure that you have actually fulfilled that test yourself. You may have an in-tray or an e-tray exercise, which tests your ability to absorb information, prioritize, make decisions, and communicate. And then we have some more of the standardized functions. So a group exercise, presentation, a written task, an interview, and a social break. So those break down, the basic components of an assessment day. Do we have any questions here before we move into some of the basics and prerequisites that, we think students should really ace before they move into that process?
I'll add to that. One thing you should always keep in mind at assessment days, they're not just testing your knowledge on whatever you're going into, whatever industry you're going into, they're testing you as a person themselves. So as Demi says, some of the exercises you may do, they put them in place to be able to see what kind of person you are. Are you someone that can work well in a team? Are you someone that's quick to solve problems? Are you someone that can think outside the box? So always keep that in mind. Whatever exercise they put forward to you, they're testing something. So once you figure out what that is, then you have a chance of, doing well in it. Sorry, go ahead, Demi.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Josh. Yeah, completely agree. I think, what they're really looking for is, your ability to respond in different scenarios. So an e-tray exercise or an in-tray exercise, it might actually put you in a real life work solution, which is simulated for the case of the assessment day. And like Josh said, what they're going to be looking for is this person committed? Are they motivated? How do they handle themselves in a group setting? And how would they handle themselves if they were actually working with us on the job? So yeah, I think we'll have a few good examples towards the end of the discussion today that should help you out.
Thank you.
No problem at all, Seema. So cool. Before we move into our best pieces of advice for an assessment day, how you can nail each and every part of that process. We want to cover some basics, some groundkeeping. So yeah, if any of the other coaches would like to chime in and, give some insight on some of these points, please feel free. But I'll kick off. As I said, the assessment day is the final part of the application process. So some very important basics that, we advise all students to be prepared for is going into the application process with as strong as possible a CV and a cover letter. Why is this important? Well, the interviewer is likely to ask questions based on what you've written down in your CV and cover letter. So you want to make sure you've written this in a way that you're as comfortable as possible, discussing all of your experiences. And it will also determine your chances of being invited in the first place. So at the very early stage of an application process, you likely go through CV screening, cover letter screening, where an employee at the firm will take a look at your application, get to know you on paper, and start to formulate an idea of who you are as a person. So make sure you actually go into that process as well equipped as possible in terms of your CV and cover letter.
One thing I'll add to the CV format is make sure what you put on your CV might sound a bit out there, but it is the truth. Don't lie, because you will get asked questions on it. They will quiz you on everything you've put on there. I've been in situations when I've been asked every single thing I put on my CV. I'm pretty sure Demi has as well.
Yeah.
So make sure you do not lie on it. Make sure you're truthful on it. And whatever you put on there, make sure you can explain it. Because it's not like a normal little job. These type of jobs, they will ask you everything because they want to make sure that the person they bring in is someone that's also truthful as well. So just keep that in mind when writing your CV.
Absolutely. And I think that actually reminds me of a funny story when I was, back in university interning at Citi during their spring internship program. So Citi is a global investment bank for those that are unaware. And at that stage, I think I'd done a few complementary classes in French at the University of Warwick. So I'd gone onto my CV, put languages down as French, intermediate, and little did I know that, I'd be faced with a French interviewer. I remember going through the interview, things were going so well. They were asking me all of the investment banking technical questions. And at the end, he just started speaking French and I started to panic. So that goes straight back to what Josh said. Ultimately, you want to be truthful. It's not just a test of what you've done, but it's a test of can this person really back up and support what they claim to have done. So great point, Josh. Cool. So yeah, moving on from the CV and cover letter, some basics as well that we strongly recommend before you attend the assessment day is doing a lot of background research on the company you're applying to. This means typing in the company name, taking a look at annual reports, news, recent press releases. In some cases, the firm will actually tell you who the interviewer is, right? So if you have the ability to, get a bit more information on the interviewer, take some time out, go onto a website called LinkedIn. If you haven't heard of LinkedIn, LinkedIn's kind of like a Facebook for professionals. It allows you to create your own social media profile where you can track all of your experiences, apply to jobs. It's a very, very powerful tool, but this may actually allow you the ability to go back and actually see, what your interview is all about. And at the end of the interview, you may ask them some questions respective to their own experiences. And that really does stand out and impress the interviewers. So make sure you guys really do a lot of background research and spend a lot of time understanding the role you're applying for and the key requirements. So if the role is specifically identifying certain skill sets, such as attention to detail, the ability to work within Excel, PowerPoint, ask yourself before you attend the assessment day, how can I make sure this really comes out when I'm performing? How can I make sure that this is really emphasized amongst the group? This might include, going and doing a few small short courses that can sort of back up your claims. It may involve, going on YouTube, for example, taking a look at the day in the life of what that specific job function actually does. So you're familiar with the day-to-day activities. But things along those lines will also make sure you're in good stead for the assessment day. Victor, Jeff, do we have anything else on the basics, or shall we kick into, some of the major pieces of advice that the CorpFit team have to offer?
Yeah, I'd like to chime in on the STAR technique. I think it's a really good technique. So the best response to any interview question is an anecdotal response. So telling the story almost, and that's what the STAR technique enforces. it allows the interviewer to sort of remember you for the story that you've told them. And it also shows your personality, as in you explain to them how you react in different situations. So it's a really good technique to employ during assessment centers and interviews in general.
Absolutely, definitely. And for those that aren't aware of the STAR technique, the abbreviations stand for situation, task, action, and result. So what you want to really be doing, as Victor said, is using an anecdotal approach to explain your experiences. You know, if an interviewer asks you about a time that you had to display leadership qualities and, you know, achieve a task, you know, don't just dive straight into it and, you know, scatter your answers all over the place. Try and give them a structure that really can take them through your way of thinking, but most importantly, demonstrate that actionable result. You know, what did you do to drive X result within the company that you were working in, within the university project that you were working on, anything along those lines? I strongly recommend that technique. And as a follow-up, we're more than happy to do another session on the STAR technique within our CorpFit community, just so you guys can see how that works in full effect. So in addition to this, some final basics that we have for the assessment day include punctuality. So making sure you're not just on time, but you're around 15 to half an hour. So 15 minutes to 30 minutes early. This just saves any issues and stress on the day. And don't be afraid to prepare and over prepare in some cases. You know, if you are going to be going into an investment banking case study or an engineering case study, there's plenty of resources that you can find on the internet. You know, if you reach out to our team, we're more than happy to share what we have too. But I find personally that walking through a mock case study, putting yourself under those time pressures just strongly help you. So, you know, we've got about 17 minutes left, so we'll carry on pushing through the presentation. But that was the basic section. I hope that was helpful. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to just keep those written down towards the end of the call. We'll make sure that we can run through some of those. So the next stage of our advice for this session is the focus of being a team contributor. So I'll let those bullets just pop up for everyone to read. Now, the first bullet we have here is the fact that the most successful candidate is typically the one who can add to other people's ideas, inclusively, not drown them out. So I'll pause here and just ask a question to the audience. Has anyone actually been to an assessment day beforehand for a job, an internship, a graduate role? Have they got any experiences with maybe someone, or even the coaches actually from the CorpFit team, someone specifically at the assessment day kind of dominating things, shouting, you know, stopping for other people from speaking? Happy to pause here just to see if we've got some thoughts.
I think
Yeah, I've been in a. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I was just saying, I think you do get those people who tend to be quite dominant and try and take the leads on a lot of the group projects. But I think if you just focus on contributing yourself, having a valued contribution and bringing other people into the conversation, then you should be doing fine.
Saying just as long as you don't focus on what other people are doing, focus on yourself during the day. As I was saying, the people that are assessing, they're seasoned in it. They know what to look for. They know who they're looking for. Just because somebody's shouting and talking over you doesn't mean that they're going to be chosen over you. That person, the people that are assessing might not like their character. Just being the loudest and the baddest and answering the most questions doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be picked or you're going to be the best there. Because anybody can talk, anybody can shout. But being a team contributor, as Demi was saying, and a team player, a lot of companies, that's a skill that they want a lot of people to have. And if you don't have that, then, you know, that's something that you would want to go and work on. So that's just my little input in that.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you, Josh. You know, so we've got some bullets there that kind of demonstrate what a team contributor is. You know, from my own personal experience, whilst I was working in investment banking at RBC Capital Markets, I sat in on a number of assessment days, did a number of internships as well. So I interviewed many students just like yourself. And what I identified as someone that, you know, we'd like to offer, they genuinely would have similar type of attributes. They'd have a positive general attitude to the task at hand. You know, they're quite curious and inquisitive. You know, they make sure that all of their team roles are being delegated or they're volunteering for those team roles. So at an assessment day, you know, some of the fundamental things that you are going to want to have in attendance will be a timekeeper, you know, someone that's taking notes on the assessment day. You want some people in the team that are confident in public speaking. So, you've nominated a presenter. But most importantly, like we've all said, we really do look for the type of candidate that is involving all of their teammates, even the ones that are quiet on the day. So if you're going for a certain type of exercise and you realize that someone in your team isn't really speaking up or contributing as much, who knows, maybe they're shy. But, if you ask them, hey, Eve, hey, Ayush, what do you have to add on this point? The assessors eyebrows are immediately going to raise and they're going to think, okay, this person is a future leader. This is someone that I can imagine hiring at the firm. So yeah, we'll whiz through some of the additional points that we've got for the attendees. The next major point that we had was to improve your public speaking skills. Why is this important? Well, 99% of group assessment days that we've attended, that we've coached people on attending, that I've maybe ran myself at previous companies, involve public speaking. So we strongly advise that all students spend some time in the weeks prior just refining your technique. This could mean going on YouTube and actually taking a look at some powerful public speakers and, a breakdown of what makes them a good speaker, so you can develop your own strategy for what you're going to do on the day. But then at the same time, it's not necessarily the final presentation, which is super important. So don't shy away from speaking or asking questions throughout. At the end of the day, your objective when attending an assessment day is, how do I make sure I'm remembered? How do I make sure that HR remembers me, my fellow companions and colleagues remember me? Just ask a question. It shows that you're intrigued and focused on the ultimate objectives of the session, and that's really important. We've also got some points on failure to prepare being preparing to fail. So Josh, you had some great points on this, on what we advise in terms of preparation. Would you like to just quickly skim through those?
Yes, yeah, as Demi was saying, you can never be too prepared. There's always more to do. You can never be too prepared. It's just down to you. So when I was going for my assessment days, 2 weeks before, I would give, 40 to an hour every day, looking through the company website, learning the company's motto, learning the companies, how they work, and then refining my skills. So public speaking, if I knew I wasn't too confident in that sector, practice. Your friends are there as well. Your friends can help you practice with your friends, your family mates as well. Like, you can never be, that's something you should always take. You can never be too prepared.
Yep.
And asking questions. That's one thing I've been told everywhere I've gone, ask questions.
Absolutely.
The aim of the assessment day, you want to be the person that they remember. You don't have to be the loudest, don't have to shout the most, don't have to answer the most questions. But just as long as you're the person that they know, okay, this person, he was asking good questions, he contributed well to the team, he was prepared, everything we asked him, he already had an answer for it, or he could give us an answer for it. He wasn't just stuttering, he wasn't waffling, he wasn't just making stuff up. Because I promise you guys, they know when you're lying, they know when you're making stuff up. As I said, these are seasoned people, so they've been in those respective industries, they've been there for years. So you can't lie to them. They already know. They'll let you lie, but they know you're lying. So just avoid it. Tell the truth. If you don't know something, say, oh, I'm not too sure about that. Can you aid me in that? It's better than trying to make up a lie, because they know that they can see, okay, you might not know it, but you have a willingness to learn.
Yes.
And that's another thing with asking questions. You show a willingness to learn and a willingness to improve yourself, which goes a long way in life and in your career as well.
Yeah.
So as I said, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. You can never over prepare. You can only under prepare. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you for that, Josh. And yeah, the final major point that we had for you for this session was to practice the job the assessment is for, meaning you've got into an investment banking or a medicine or an engineering assessment day. Do you understand the role? Do you understand the responsibilities of this position? And this is something that CorpFit as a whole, as a social platform, really aims to bridge the gap for students like yourself. So on our YouTube, we offer a podcast. We also offer a day in a life series that sometimes gets posted on TikTok, on social media. But, aside from CorpFit, the key is in that time of preparation to really spend some time aside on understanding, what the duties of an investment banking analyst are, what's involved in a pitch book, what's involved in a valuation model, and so on and so forth. So when you actually get to the assessment day, you can step into those shoes very easily and demonstrate to the assessors that, hey, I've done my research. This is why you should pick me. Some of the other high-level points that we've included in the presentation are commercial awareness and current affairs. So what is commercial awareness and current affairs? You've probably heard this a lot from your school teachers, maybe from insight days that you've attended, but a company really does appreciate when a candidate has prior knowledge of the sector, can demonstrate their passion for the business, but most importantly, can contextualize this information to the company. What do I mean by contextualize? I mean, if you're a student that knows that you're applying to Goldman Sachs for their summer internship, like Ayush said, for example, at the start of the session, not only are the employees at Goldman Sachs going to be curious on you knowing what's going on in the global economy, on you knowing what the interest rates are in the UK and in the US, maybe what the price of oil is, they want to know what are the implications for their business as a result of this news, right? So if you can not only just pick up the news, but think to yourself, how can I actually contextualize this to the company that I'm applying to? You're going to be in a really good position at the stage of the assessment day. And how can you do this if you're starting from square one, right? How can you do this if you've got not much finance experience, not much engineering experience on your CV? Well, you can apply to Insight Days. You can join virtual work experiences and work experience programs, which can demonstrate, how motivated and passionate you are for the sector. We actually feature a number of opportunities in our online Discord platform. So all of the students that are a part of our email list or a part of our Instagram following or our Discord community actually get set these opportunities that they can apply to. We coach them through it. But I think, there's never too much experience. I went into university having done about 5 to 7 Insight Days already. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I went out and seek that experience, even if it was just a 1 day, half a day presentation. I put it on my CV and it worked out for me. So we've only got about 5 minutes left until CareersJam will cut us off. So I'm going to whiz through the presentation now. Here are some of our testimonials as a brand, CorpFit. We offer investment banking, CV services. We offer services for in engineering, technology, school leaver preparation. We have a few clients now that are working in investment banks as finance professionals. One of our clients here, George, he worked with us on a CV review and is now going to join Goldman Sachs in their summer analyst program. That's very similar to Leon, who's going to join EY this summer as a consultant. Some of our team are joining investment banks as a graduate. So we've got Prosper here, Milo, who did a CV review with us. We have Joseph, who's one of our superstars. He actually achieved 2 graduate offers within 4 weeks of working with the team. We helped him secure a job at an insurance broking firm called Howden. But in terms of today, what can we do for you as a gift, as a follow-up to stay in touch following CareersJam? We don't just deliver sessions like this, we do all sorts. So on the slide at the moment, you can see our free community. On the left-hand side, we have a few screenshots of what that looks like. So the CorpFit Discord community is essentially like the student room. I hope some students here have been on the student room before. You create your own profile, you indicate what sectors you're interested in, and you can immediately start communicating with our coaches. So if you scan that QR code, you can immediately join. However, you can also find that link on our social platforms. Moving on, we have some of the wins. So just a couple of weeks ago, one of our clients and one of our students in the community, it's completely free, by the way, actually achieved 4 out of 5 university offers with some of the assistance he received from Jefferson and Victor and our school leavers team. We also go into secondary schools and give much longer talks. So here's a screenshot of Victor speaking with Beth's Grammar School, one of the grammar schools here down in Southeast in Bexley. And we're on social media. So, if you'd like to join the community, you'd like to perhaps join the Discord, ask us some questions, get to know the coaches a bit more, you can find us on LinkedIn just by searching CorpFit. We're also available on Instagram at CorpFitOfficial. And as I mentioned, we've got a lot more stuff coming on our TikTok. So you can find us on TikTok via Train with CorpFit. So we've got a day in the life of Victor, who's a bulge bracket degree apprentice. You have some insights on our first school events. We have some workouts as well, as that's a major part of our offering. But yeah, I'll pause here just for any questions. I'll leave the QR code up But thank you all for taking the time out for this session. It shows that you're extremely motivated already as young people to be this curious about your careers. I wish I had something like this when I was your ages. So thank you once again for joining, and I'll pause here for any questions in the chat. And feel free to unmute yourself too if you have any sorts of questions for myself or the team.
You can find us, all of us are on LinkedIn, so our names are on the screen, so you can follow us all on LinkedIn. Pop up, just a quick chat if you want to have a quick chat with any of us. We're more than happy to talk to you. So, I think we have a question, Demi.
Yeah, we have a question from Eve. I see that Aish also raised his hand. So we'll kick off with Eve.
Combating
assessment day nerves.
So that's a hard one. That's a question we get asked a lot. And I think the best way to combat the nerves is, as I said, that preparation. In your mind, if you know you've given it all, you've prepared to the best of your ability, that's something that's going to calm your nerves. And also, funny enough, get into the place early. If you get there 30 minutes before, you have a chance to sit down, relax, calm yourself down, get adjusted to the environment, because some of these places, big city banks, investment firms, there's a lot going on. You have a chance to sit down, you have a chance to calm your nerve, you have a chance to relax, and you have a chance to get your mind ready for what's actually to come. So that's another. So I say that's the best ways, I would say, to calm your nerves.
Yes.
Another question in there.
Okay, perfect. We've got quite a few questions coming through. Let's see. Any tips for applying? Yeah, so any tips for applying to apprenticeship specifically? I just sent a link to the corpfit.com website, Sima. So we have released 2 free guides, 5 steps to application success, and also our school leavers guide. And there's a section in there that's specific to apprenticeships. So please feel free to download that. You also have the ability to join our free community in that download, and you can ask us the questions directly on Discord if you'd like to. Ayush asked us another question on in-tray and e-tray exercises. What sort of exercises have the team had first experiences in? So from my own experience, if I was to pull out an experience in investment banking from the RBC Capital Markets graduate program, during my assessment day, they put us through like a real life deal simulation, whereby the in-tray exercise was, you've got 3 of you guys in a deal team, you have a client that needs changes to their presentation by X amount of time, I think 8 a.m. tomorrow. The scene is you guys are in the office, these are the various tasks to complete, and they just let us act from there. And that's why I think, understanding the role, understanding the position is extremely important. Because what they were really looking for was who understands the job, who understands the various processes involved in an investment banking deal. But just out of interest in time, if you have more on that, we can touch base with you on social media. So feel free to send us some details there.
I think there was a question someone asked, just a quick one, about how to handle disagreements in assessment day. The one thing I would say to that is, you're in a professional situation. So remember, everything you do from the moment you walk into that building is being assessed. And disagreements is one thing you will be assessed on. How can you handle disagreements? Because you will not always agree with everybody. You're not always going to agree with everybody in your team. And for me, the best way I can say to that is keep a cool head and be professional about everything you say. If you believe your point is correct, speak, talk. I only say back down if the person is overly too much and you can see the situation is going to escalate, then I'll say back down, it's not worth it. But keep professional at all times, no matter what happens, stay professional. That's something that companies look for as well, because you'll always have disagreements, you'll always have people that don't agree with you, and some people that are blatantly rude to you, but you just have to make sure you stay professional at all times. That's the key thing, stay professional. So yeah.
I'd also like that actually, if someone is making a point that disagrees with your point, it is good to look for the pros in their point as well. So take into account what they have said and build on that. So always look to build what people are saying. Even if they may be wrong, look for the pros in that and say, I understand your point because I can see so and so. And the assessors or the modulators will look at that and favorably.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think sometimes you might make a point, someone's like, no, that's completely wrong, blah, 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 blah. And as Josh said, as long as that's not becoming aggressive, it's oftentimes extremely good to, you know, say to your colleague, hey, that's a really good point. I like what you said with regards to X, Y, and Z. You know, why don't we combine the two together? But I think, you know, if you have the ability to overall just demonstrate the fact that you are a thinker, you're collaborative, and you're someone who's easy to get along with, you'll be in great shape. And another point I just wanted to add to Eve's question about nerves is to kind of use the nerves to your advantage in the weeks that you have ahead of the assessment day. We're a big believer that proper preparation will prevent poor performance. And if you are feeling those sorts of nerves, it just means there's more preparation to be done. You know, we really just try to stress to all of our candidates that if you go in there knowing that you've tried your best in terms of understanding what's going on in the sector, so your commercial awareness, what's going on in the company in terms of maybe recent awards that they've won, various things in the annual reports and key risks that they may have stated. You know, if you've done all of that preparation, you'll start to feel those nerves gradually subside. You will naturally feel nervous just because you do care about the outcome, but just remember that, you know, every other student does feel the same. Most importantly, the employees that are assessing you would have been in those positions beforehand too. So give it your best shot, but most importantly, just stay prepared. Okay, perfect. Were there any other questions we missed, guys, or?
As you said before, a lot of this information can be found on the CorpFit website itself. As Demi has said, there's manuals that have been released there free of charge for you to have a look at for how to assess assessment days, for interviews, for CV writing. So have a look at that, and also contact us on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you, you know, to walk you through things. As I said, we've just been through it, so we know how it is to go through these same scenarios that you guys are about to go through. You know, when it comes to finance, you know, Demi, Jeff, these guys have got a whirlpool of knowledge that they can help you with. Engineering, I'm more than happy to help out. You know, even if it's not just specific to engineering, anything else,
Yeah,
you know, we're more than happy to help. So
definitely.
just give us a shout.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We've got, you know, over 20 coaches and counting from universities ranging from Warwick to LSE to Oxbridge. You know, so there's a wide range of us on the team. It's not just the four of us that you can see here. And we're all available in the Discord community too. So, you know, not only will you gain access to the career opportunities, not only will you be able to network with individuals like yourself that all want to be in a certain type of career or achieve the same type of success early on in life. You know, it's really kind of going to become a community where, you know, you can have conversations with people that are on the other side of the country, but all in the same application process. Do you know what I mean? So really try and learn from each other in there. We have a general chat too, where people oftentimes share their wins. So yeah, that would be great. We've just seen some messages from Eve. Yeah, she said this has been really informative. Thanks so much. Yeah, we're really glad to help. I think we've just hit the time limit in terms of CareersJam, but as the team said, everyone's available on social media. I'll go right back one last time to each of our pages, so each of our introduction pages. If I just come out here. So you've got myself, Demi. We've got Victor. We've got Jefferson, and we've got Joshua. So, you know, if you send us an invitation on LinkedIn, more than happy to have another chat offline. And thank you all for joining.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.